It's Wednesday, August 18th, 2010. I'm Kevin McShan, and this is the McShan Sports Beat Report. In life and in sports, if you sit on the sidelines hoping things will miraculously turn into your favor, I'm here to tell you that hope is not a strategy. For the better part of half a century, the Detroit Lions have employed that tactic, and it's got them absolutely nothing. However, for the first time in modern memory, this may be the year there may be a legitimate reason to crack just the slightest of a smile when we bring up the subject of the Honolulu Blue and Silver. Forgive me if I sound like the ultimate optimist. However, for the first time in quite a while around these parts, the Lions seem to be assembling a roster with some talented players on it, even if it's in limited supply, with the acquisitions of defensive end Vanden, Bosch, defensive tackle Corey Williams, and wide receiver Nate Burleson, coupled with the drafting of Ndamukong Suh and Jahvid, and returning starters quarterback Matthew Stafford and safety Louis Delmas. The nucleus is there for the Lions to build upon, and my friends, isn't it refreshing to see that the Lions finally have a clue on how to build a football team? Yes, I know that it's only August, and I realize that we go through the same song and dance with this bunch every single summer, only to get bitterly disappointed by the end of September, and by the middle of October, we're already setting our sights on draft day, also known as the Lions version of Christmas in April. If the Lions are serious about showing tangible improvement in 2010, it'll start and end with their second-year signal caller, Matthew Stafford, who seems to have a command of his offense, his team, and his surroundings in his second rodeo with the Lions. Stafford is the unquestioned leader of this team and is looking to build upon a rookie season that had bumps, bruises, highs and lows, and everything in between. He threw for 13 touchdowns, 20 interceptions, he was sacked 24 times, and completed 53.3% of his passes. In order to accomplish that goal, the Lions had to work overtime this offseason to improve an offensive unit that ranked 27th in the league last year in scoring, averaging just 16.4 points per game, not to mention their running game, which finished 24th, averaging just 101 yards on the ground, and for the season, the team could only muster 198 yards per game. However, with the additions of tight end Tony Scheffler, Burleson, a rededicated Bryant Johnson, and a rejuvenated Calvin Johnson, not to mention a running game which the coaches hope is resurgent, headed by rookie Jahvid best. It should give Stafford and offensive coordinator Scott Linehan plenty of options to score some points, considering they're going to need it with a defense that's ranked last in the league for 3 consecutive years, surrendering over 30 points per contest. It's been nearly 2.5 years since the Detroit Lions last won a road game, October 28, 2007 to be exact, when they went into Chicago Soldier Field and defeated the Bears 16-7. Since then, the Lions have endured 2 consecutive 20-game road losing streaks, including the one they ended this season with. This season alone, Detroit has been outscored by an astounding 269-103 away from Ford Field. Their average margin of defeat has been by 33.6 points per game. Detroit has gone winless on the road 5 times in the last 9 seasons. The team holds the NFL record for most consecutive road losses with 24. They accomplished the feat between 2001 and 2003. Detroit's longest individual road losing streak is to the Green Bay Packers. They haven't beaten Green Bay at Lambeau Field since December 15, 1991, when they defeated the Packers 21-17. Kicker Jason Hanson was only a rookie back then. He is the only current player on the roster to have beaten the Packers within the last 18 years while a member of the team. Detroit's 2010 road schedule includes games against their traditional division foes, Minnesota, Chicago, and Green Bay. The Lions will also face off against Miami, Buffalo, the Giants, the Cowboys, and the Buccaneers. Winning on the road in the NFL is always tough, but if the Lions want to restore some credibility to their franchise, a good place to start is by accumulating some victories away from the confines of Ford Field. But as we've seen over the past decade, that task for Detroit is easier said than done. The Lions have finished last in their division for 4 straight years. They haven't recorded a win inside the division in 2 years. Detroit has now lost 15 consecutive games to NFC North opponents, dating back to October of 2007. Detroit has had tremendous difficulty beating 2 teams in particular in their division, the Minnesota Vikings and the Green Bay Packers, especially on the road. The Lions haven't recorded a win inside the Metrodome since December 14th, 1997, when they defeated the Vikings 14-13. The team's drought at Lambeau Field stands at 18 years. They haven't beaten the Packers on the road since December 15th, 1991, when they defeated Green Bay 21-17. For the decade, the Lions have posted a record of 13-52 against division foes. Over the last 3 years, Detroit's best success in the division came in 2007 when the team won half of their divisional contests. The easiest way for the Lions to be competitive again and to restore some respectability is by winning some games inside their own division. But if the last decade is any indication, Detroit is a long way from competing in the NFC North division. There is still plenty of work to be done for head coach Jim Schwartz and Lions general manager Martin Mayhew in order to transform this roster into a consistent winner. But at least they have the team on solid footing and trending in an upward direction. Now the question is, will it be enough to restore the roar in Motown, or are Lions fans simply holding on to false hope? Because as we all know, hope springs eternal. Whatever the answer, everyone in Lionland will be anxiously awaiting to see how this picture ultimately comes in to focus. Kevin McShan Sports Beat Report.